Hello, everybody who's just joining us. This is another meeting of our coordinating collective from DiEM25. We're operating with a bit of a lower smaller number of crew today. There's a few people absent. We're going to be tackling 4 main agenda items. The first, we're going to talk about the top issues at the moment in Europe. Then we're going to get a summary and an update from the project to develop national manifestos. Then we're going to talk about, we'll get an update about the new the new validating council that's coming in, and lastly, we'll make a decision about our participation in a protest in Rome for Black Lives Matter, and then there'll be any other business. Before we get in, just 2 quick points. First, we're going to try to keep everyone's interventions down to 2 minutes so that we can be super efficient. And second, I just want to give a shout out to Max, who is a brilliant team member of ours, who's responsible for making some of the excellent videos that we've been putting out, dare I say it. He unfortunately was in a car accident and he's fine, but he's in hospital at the moment with concussion. He will get better, but I hope that you get better sooner rather than later, Max, so get well soon. Okay, let me hand it over now to Eric, who's going to start the top issues at the moment in Europe, so we can kick off that way. Eric.
Cheers, mate. Take care, Max. Hope you feel better soon, mate. So this was an agenda item actually from Fotini Bakadima, who is one of our members of parliament in Greece. She couldn't be with us because she is actually in a last-minute meeting about the Greek-Turkish crisis. She would like to speak very briefly about what happened in Moria in Lesbos. So she's asked me to transmit sort of the situation there. So Moria refugee camp is essentially a concentration camp for refugees who arrive in Greece on the island of Lesbos, which is on the border with Turkey. This is a camp with a capacity for 2,000 people, and for the past couple of years, it's been housing up of 10,000 people. Until a couple of days ago, it was at 13,000 refugees and migrants that were being housed in a camp with a capacity for 2,000. So it was an appalling, hellish place. And as of a couple of months, it also included 35 cases of COVID. Now, the results of that by the Greek government was to shut the whole place down, lock it down, quarantine it, and lock these people with each other in these appalling conditions. What happened 2 days ago should be no surprise to anyone. It is that the people that were forced to live in these conditions decided to set fire to the refugee camp in Moria and burned it to the ground. The response of the Greek government to this was not to send humanitarian aid, but in fact to send some units of riot police to the island to contain these people. Now, I think it's important for all of us, especially for DiEM25, given who we are and what we stand for, to mention this fact and to condemn how the Greek government's handling, but also to be honest about what this actually means. This is not a failing just of the conservative right-wing government of New Democracy now, appalling as their actions might be. This is also a failing of the Syriza government who created this camp in the first place, and it is the collective failure of the policy of all European governments that make up the European Union, which has resulted in this policy of Fortress Europe that essentially forces the governments of its member states into policies such as the Moria camp. It should make all of us as Europeans embarrassed and remind us that we will be answering to history for these actions of our governments collectively. This isn't just a Greek issue, it's a European issue. Sorry if I was a bit long. I think it's important for us to mention this particular case.
Thank you, Eric. And we can also refer viewers to our position on Moria, which we published yesterday on DiEM25.org. Srečko.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mehran, and thanks, Eric, for the update. I apologize in advance because my internet connection is a bit shitty today, so it keeps crashing and kicking me out. So I hope I won't speak to the dark. Well, I have 2 updates. Both of them are not really pleasant. The first one is, as probably most of the members of DiEM25 know, the trial about the extradition of Julian Assange to the United States, where he would get if he's extradited 175 years, just started this week on Monday. We've been very active in supporting his case, as you know, with exhibitions, We Are Millions, with petitions, with events, and so on. And we are following closely what's happening. Unfortunately, today, due to COVID, because a lawyer from the prosecution was exposed to COVID, as they put it in court, exposed. We don't know whether the person is infected yet. The trial was postponed until next week. Well, there is many more things to say about it. I think the best is to follow DiEM's channels or Courage Foundation or WikiLeaks. And I'm sure that our members will organize even more. The other update, and next week when Renata Villa is back with us, who is a human rights lawyer and is probably the one most knowledgeable among us about the case, she will give us weekly updates on the situation. The other update, and I'm trying to keep to 2 minutes, but it will be difficult, especially with this other update, is that this year wasn't just bad for refugees in Moria. It wasn't just bad for people affected by the pandemic in different ways, from unemployment to mental problems, which people already feel, depression, and so on. It was also bad in the sense that many of our dear friends and comrades are dying, are passing away. One of the last ones who was a member of DiEM's advisory panel is George Bezos, a famous human rights lawyer who was the lawyer of Nelson Mandela in the 60s. Thanks to him, it is said that Nelson Mandela avoided the death sentence. And Yanis and then I met him 2 years ago, I think in South Africa, and he was very happy to join DiEM's advisory panel. So my concrete suggestion, before I mention some other people, is that we open a special section in the advisory on the website of DiEM and in the advisory panel for members of the advisory panel who are not alive anymore. Unfortunately, we have came to that stage. Then I also wanted to express that many people who were in one way or the other way connected to DiEM25 also passed away. One is David Graeber, one of the leading contemporary anthropologists and anarchists who wasn't a DiEMer officially, but during the quarantine period, he joined the DiEM TV. And you can watch it on the internet. And I think it's a big loss, not only for the academia, but also for activism. Then during summer, unfortunately, also another activist from the United States died. I'm mentioning all of them because I think DiEM also has to show its respect towards those people, was Michael Brooks. Davida knows him better than others because he was again involved in DiEM TV. It's a big loss as well. Then Bernard Stiegler as well, the French philosopher who, speaking about Julian Assange, was a big help during that big event in 2016 when he organized a big event at Centre Pompidou with Patti Smith and so on. So to finish, I think what we have to take into account as a movement and as progressives is what Derrida would call politics of friendship. You know, that friendship is always about survival, and that those who survive, and in this case, it's us, even if we are on a Zoom, which is not really a pleasant place, that those who survive have the commitment and the duty to, well, pursue the common struggle. So we will do it for Jeff, not for Jeff, but George Bezos. I'm sorry for this mistake, for David Graeber, for Michael Brooks, for Bernard Stiegler, and all others who were cooperating with DiEM25. I'm finishing here.
Thank you for that, Srečko. Okay, Eric has a little comment. I mean, I would like to speak about something perhaps more uplifting after that, but Eric's now going to be talking about warmongering in the Eastern Mediterranean.
You're coming to the right place for the wrong place. Sorry, this was the actual point I wanted to bring to the CC today. I'll try and make it brief. On Tuesday, I was invited to be on a panel on a Qatari television station to comment on the Greek-Turkish crisis. And I wanted to share with you a bit of my experience and my thoughts on that. So the atmosphere that was created by both the moderator and the people who they'd invited to participate in this discussion, namely a Turkish academic and a think tank researcher from Doha, was one of pure warmongering. And it was really terrifying. And I wanted to share this with all of you, that from the beginning, I mean, the conversation was framed in such a way that kind of forced everybody to take a side. You know, you're either with your country or you're a traitor to your country, and it's them against you and you against them. And it was all framed in this way from the beginning. And the narrative was totally dehumanizing. There was no mention of human beings. It was all about political maneuvers by Washington, Moscow, Berlin, Ankara, you know, this top-down narrative about energy security, and not really about the human beings in the middle of all of this. And there was no space left for perspective. You know, everything was sort of caught up either in academic claptrap, or it was overheated nationalist rhetoric. So, you know, what's really happening in the Aegean right now is part of the oldest political story there is. It's rich and powerful people that are playing political games, either to sell more weapons through the industrial military complex Berlin and Paris, for geopolitical maneuvers by NATO or Russia, or you know, a crumbling regime in Turkey under Erdogan that is trying to bolster its nationalist support. And human beings are caught in the midst of it, and there is no space right now for that discussion. And it was really worrying. And I think as DiEM25, it's incredibly important that we are very loud and very clear about what is actually happening there, to resist this talk about Berlin and Paris and Moscow coming in as peacemakers, when in fact they only have things to gain from a continuation of this conflict through the selling of more weapons, through political maneuvers and so on, and to really push for the only thing that could aim at real lasting peace in the Eastern Mediterranean, which is a summit of Eastern Mediterranean countries, not just Greece and Turkey, all of them coming together with no international moderators to resolve their own differences, putting their people first and not foreign interests. I think it's very important for DiEM to be making that point as a democracy in Europe movement and as pacifists. And I do personally think that the situation is quite close to a military confrontation in the region, and it's only being fueled by empowering these kinds of voices that I saw on this television station. And I think we should be very strong on this point.
Thank you, Eric, for framing that very important debate on that topic. Simona, you have something that you wanted to add with your 2 minutes.
I'll try to be shorter than this. I just wanted to point out that this week on September the 13th, actually, we will start a campaign organized by our members, our national collectives, that is about housing and about the right for everybody to have a decent housing. And the campaign is called Rent Revolution, sorry. And it starts by a petition that shall be on our website in a short time. Talking of campaigning, I think we should encourage our members to join or organize even better demonstrations and actions about Julian Assange trial, and make it more visible as possible on our website. I remember to everybody that we have an event place in our website, and everybody can mark its demonstration there.
Thank you, Simona. Okay, let's move some things around in the agenda so we can hear from some different people. Maybe we should jump now to the status update for our new validating council. Johannes?
Yes, thank you. Filling in for Judith, our IT coordinator, who cannot be here today. I'm just giving you a brief update that our validating council, which is our body that consists of 100 randomly selected members of DiEM25 that is able to take quick decisions sometimes when we cannot ask the whole membership. This body has been, half of the body has been renewed, and there, since we had a change of rules in summer, the new endurance of that people joining this this council is now 1 year. So we'll have new elections only every 6 months now to give people a little more time to actually learn about what the validating council means in practice and how they can participate there. So yes, just a short update on our internal processes, which continue to flourish. And yeah, thank you, Judith, for the work that she put into actually technically making this transition.
Thank you. And does anyone have anything else they'd like to add on that, or can we move to the next topic? Okay. The next topic is about whether we should join this Black Lives Matter protest in Rome on the 3rd of October. I know you put this in the agenda, Simona, but maybe Patrizia can take it so we can get a bit of variety. Patrizia, or is this something that you're not aware of?
No, I'm quite prepared, but of course, Simona can add something whenever she wants. Moving on this item, I do believe that we can organize something in both directions with all the other association who are organizing something specific for this particular date. But of course, I suggest to go out with our own position and our own specific organization. We have been already in contact with a couple of our DiEMers who are very involved in these topics, and we are ready at the same time to be connected with one more DiEMer directly to New York City, who is also involved, and he knows quite well everything is going on, also not in Italy, but from the other part of the world. So if you all agree, we can put it on tracks and try to organize very quickly, because of course time is running out, but I'm sure we can manage it.
Thank you, Patrizia. Simona, do you have something you want to add, or does anyone else have any raging disagreement?
No, I just wish to add something. The demonstration is about the right to citizenship for people who has stranger parents. In Italian law, you are an Italian if your parents are Italians. Doesn't matter where you are born. And if you are born in Italy, but your parents are strangers, you are a stranger. You lost any right when you are 18. So it's about citizenship, and it's important. And it's about an European-wide campaign about making the 3rd October, the 3rd day of memory for about Black Lives Matter. So a day of memory and about welcoming strangers and about no borders and so on. And so my suggestion is not just to greenlight an Italian NC proposal, but also to foster an European-wide vision for it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Simona. Srečko.
Yeah, just quickly, because it seems we are kind of running out of time. I think definitely we, as the coordinating collective, should support this action, because in the past we supported it already, and I think in our manifesto it is pretty clear where we stand when it comes to these issues. My only question or concern is the logistics. So I think it would be very useful to know what exactly the Italian NC is requesting from the coordinated collective. How can we amplify the message? How can we help? Is it just social media, website, and so on? Or are there any activists in Rome going out to the city? Are there printing banners and so on? I mean, this is not something we have to discuss now, obviously, but I think it would be useful to have this kind of details, maybe in an email after the Zoom, you know, just to see what exactly is going to happen, how can we connect it to other places, what can the coordinating collective do. And I think what is always needed is that we have someone from the coordinating collective who will then, if we are going to pursue it, be responsible for that action. So I think it's kind of obvious that someone from Italy would be responsible for it. Maybe it can be shared between Patrizia and Simona. But in any case, I think someone from the coordinated collective has to take care of it then, because if there is a distribution of responsibility, you know how it ends up.
Great, thank you, Srečko. So Patrizia and Simona will ask the Italian NC to submit something more detailed to say, this is what we expect from you guys, this is what we can do, and what we're going to, how we're going to organize. Okay, perfect. Next agenda item is an update on the project that we kicked off recently to develop national manifestos. Eric, your 2 minutes starts now.
I'll be very brief. I've spoken too much already. So just to keep everybody in the loop, and those of you watching us, the project is continuing. We're now in the process of finalizing a kit, which will be given to all members who are interested in helping organize these local meetings with citizens around Europe, in order to sort of start the process of gathering answers on important political questions in different countries, cities, and so on. And on the answers of which we will start building our national manifestos everywhere. So right now we're at that stage where we develop a comprehensive kit for everyone, so they know what they can and cannot do, who can help them with what, and for them to understand and conceptualize what it is that we're trying to achieve. It will also be shared with the CC before it goes live to everybody. And we're also in the process of creating the teams that will help us run this huge, a very ambitious project around Europe, including online sort of support, event organization, putting together the programs based on the responses we'll be receiving, etc. And to have some good news, we in total so far we've received over 550 responses from 40 different countries to the form, and out of these people, about 400 something have volunteered to help run the project. So we have a good pool of people. We have a lot of very good material to work with. And now it's just a question of fleshing out the teams, fleshing out the procedures in order to move this forward. We'll have a more comprehensive update in the next couple of weeks when more things will be better set.
Thanks, Eric. I think you've got 11 seconds left of your 2 minutes. So perhaps with those 11 seconds, what you can do is, if there may be a DiEM member or someone that hasn't even joined DiEM yet that is pretty good at developing policy and would like to get involved in this project, this grassroots powered manifesto development project, where do they have to go? Can you explain that? How can they sign up and get involved?
That is what is not there yet, this online team that we're building now. But in the meantime, if you're watching this and you're excited, all you need to do is go on our website, go to the About Us, go to the Coordinating Collective, look at these pretty faces, see the pictures that correspond to us, and just send us an email. You can find all of our emails on the Coordinating Collective website under the About page. So in the meantime, you can get in touch with us. Otherwise, there will be a specific space on our website specifically for this project that you will be able to go to soon.
Okay, thanks, Eric. We'll announce that and then in a future CC meeting. Baral, you had a comment that you wanted to jump in with. I think you're muted, Baral. I think you'll have to unmute yourself.
the issue of manifesto is on the table now, and we really need a lot of help and support from you all to make this manifesto as soon as possible, because I think it is essential to have new members, because we are really a very little, very small community in Turkey.
Thank you, Beryl. Relating to Turkey there. Any other comments? We're now in the any other business part. So the sky's the limit. Srečko.
Yeah, maybe just quickly, because we forgot to mention one very important announcement, and I know that David and Rosemary have another announcement for the next week. I think it's important to remind everyone that the first summit of the Progressive International is happening during the next weekend. On Friday, we will have several public events with keynote lectures and debates with Noam Chomsky, Naomi Klein, Cornel West, Yanis Varoufakis, many other people from the Global South, women activists, dreamers, subversives. That's on Friday. It's open to everyone. You can register. And then on Saturday and Sunday, we have the first real summit. So let's see how that will go. But I think it's a big step forward for the Progressive International, and also DiEM25 as a member organization of the Progressive International. And I know David and Rosemary have another announcement connected to our favorite DiEM TV, right?
Rosemary, go ahead. It's your program.
Rosemary. You're muted, unfortunately, Rosemary.
I was just about to say that David will have to fill in the timing on this, because I've already forgotten all the times that are relevant. But the event that we're talking about is a very exciting new season for DiEM25 TV. It's an event interviewing Peter McLeod, who founded MASS LBP. It's the organization in Canada, which is absolutely famous worldwide for the delivery of deliberative democracy, citizens' assemblies, and all the deliberative forms that are beginning to sort of challenge the old purely representational ways of doing democracy. I'm going to be talking to him with another member of the Deliberative Democracy DSC, Michael Sinclair. We're hoping to really push him on what kind of democracy our democratizing movement should be pushing for, on whether citizens' assemblies work, and we hope a lot of you will attend and send in your questions. He's getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning in Canada in order to do this interview for us. So we're really going to have to keep him wide awake for an hour and a half, or whatever the session is. Thank you.
Can you just remind us of the date again, Rosemary?
It's September the 18th.
September
Friday.
the 18th.
In the
Wonderful.
morning. Yeah.
Great.
And that's just for the timing. Maybe I can just mention very quickly. So that's 6 a.m. Toronto time, 11 a.m. BST. So that's in the UK, and 12 Central European Summer Time. So yeah, that's it. And I've just put the link in the chat. So if you want, you can already go and sign up, and you will receive a link before the program goes live.
Thanks, David. Well, we've managed to actually squeak in under an hour. So unless anyone wants to spoil it and say something, I think that wraps us up. We're done. Yep. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining us, and see you next time.
Yeah. Thank you, Mehran, for the great moderation. I think people can learn from you. Yeah, and see you next week.
Cheers. Bye.